Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Kunya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Shivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Shivaradari Yasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Ranjana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Panacha Yamuna Tira Panacha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Devaradari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Devaradari Yasodanandana Bhajana Yasodanandana Bhajana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunya Bihari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudirai Nastavya Bhadrasu Nityam Bharata Sevya Bharvatu Tamastuke Bhakti Bhavati Naistike. Today we will be reading from the Srimad Bhagavata, first canto, chapter 8, text 22. Nama Pankajana Bhaya, Nama Pankajamaline, Nama Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangaye. Word for word translation. Namaha, all respectful obeisance. Pankajanabhaya, unto the Lord who has specific depression resembling a lotus flower in the center of his abdomen. Namaha, obeisances. Pankajamaline, one who is always decorated with a garland of lotus flowers. Namaha, obeisances. Pankajanetraya, one whose glance is as cooling as a lotus flower. Namate, respectful obeisances unto you. Pankaja Angaye, unto you the soles of whose feet are engraved with lotus flowers and who are therefore said to possess lotus feet. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. My respectful obeisances are unto you, O Lord, whose abdomen is marked with a depression like a lotus flower, who are always decorated with garlands of lotus flowers, whose glances are cool as a lotus, and whose feet are engraved with lotuses. Purport. Here are some of the specific marks on the spiritual body of the personality of Godhead, which distinguish his body from the body of all others. They are all special features of the body of the Lord. The Lord may appear as one of us, but he is always distinct by specific bodily features. Srimati Kunti claims herself unfit to see the Lord because of her being a woman. This is claimed because women, Sudras, the laborer class, and the Dvicha Bandhus, or the wretched descendants of the higher three classes, are unfit by intelligence to understand transcendental subject matter concerning the spiritual name, fame, attributes, forms, etc. of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Such persons, although they are unfit to enter into the spiritual affairs of the Lord, can see him as Arshavihra who descends to the material world just to distribute favors to the fallen souls, including the above-mentioned women, Sudras, and Vichabandhus. Because such fallen souls cannot see anything beyond matter, the Lord condescends to enter into each and every of the innumerable universes as Garbhoddakashayi Vishnu, who grows a lotus stem from the lotus-like depression in the center of his transcendental abdomen. And thus, Brahma, the first living being in the universe, is born. Therefore, the Lord is known as Pankajanabi. The Pankajanabi Lord accepts the Vigraha. Arshavihra is transcendental form in different elements, namely a form within the mind, a form made of wood, a form made of earth, a form made of metal, a form made of jewel, a form made of paint, a form drawn on the sand, etc. All such forms of the Lord are decorated with garlands and lotus flowers, and therefore should be soothing atmosphere in the temple of worship to attract the burning attention of the non-devotees always engaged in material wranglings. The mediators worship a form within the mind. Therefore, the Lord is merciful even to the women, the Sudras, the Dvichabandhas, provided they agree to visit the temple of worship in different forms made for them. Such temple visitors are not idolaters, as alleged by some men with a poor fund of knowledge. All the acharyas established such temples of worship in all places just to favor the less intelligent. And one should not pose himself as transcending the stage of temple worship, while one is actually in the category of the Sudras and the women or less. One should begin to see the Lord from his lotus feet, gently rising to the thighs, waist, chest, and face. One should not try to look to the face of the Lord without being accustomed to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Srimati Kunti, because of her being the aunt of the Lord, did not begin to see the Lord from the lotus feet, because the Lord might feel ashamed, and thus Kunti Devi, just to save a painful situation for the Lord, began to see the Lord just above his lotus feet. This is from the waist of the Lord, gradually rising to the face, and then down to the lotus feet. In the round, everything there is in order. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jananjana Shanakam Saksaran Militam Yena Tasman Sigove Nama Chichitayamano Samstaptam Yena Bhutali Swamrapradamyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shivu Shiyuda Padkamlam Shirum Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupam Jagadatam Sakana Raghunatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savutam Parajan Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Desham Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakandita Shiv Shakam Vitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandha Chat Pate Pesha Kapka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwar Vishavana Sutta Devi Panamama Hari Priye Pancha Kalpa Vishake Pasan Vivisa Patnam Pavani Bhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishisa Sunyavadi Paskachani. So Lord Krishna is going to leave Hastinapur, that the battle of Kurukshetra is over. All the duties after the war, the consoling of the widows and the cremations, everything is done. And after that, Lord Krishna stayed a few months with Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then he was going to leave for Dwarka, and but here Queen Kunti is praying to the Lord. She will ask him to stay a little longer. And Yudhishthira Maharaj will agree to that, but we've seen these prayers of Queen Kunti. Queen Kunti is very aware that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And she's very attached to him, and she's praying to him. His prayers, beautiful prayers. She's saying, yes, you protected us always. You protected Bhishma Dev. You protected Bhima from poisoned with a cake. You saved us from burning in a house of flag. So many times he said, you saved us. And now the war is over, yes. But there are still these descendants of these inimical kings, and they may still attack us every moment. So she's praying to the Supreme Lord. Interesting, in this purport, Prabhupada stresses, yes, that women, Sudras and Vicha Bandhus, they cannot understand the spiritual name, fame, attributes of the Absolute Truth. But I heard many lectures of Srila Prabhupada on that subject matter. In these lectures, he makes it very clear that here, when we speak of women in that context, this is not related to devotees. That devotee women are very intelligent because they take to Krishna consciousness. See Queen Kunti also in the previous verse, she said, "Yes, I'm a woman. How can I understand this great philosophy and this? How can I understand you?" But from our prayers in the previous verses, it's very clear. She's she has a deep understanding of Krishna. That because when one becomes a devotee, one transcends these modes of nature. That and therefore, the devotee is intelligent and can understand transcendental subject matters. That for those who are not devotees, they cannot understand. How to understand the Supreme Lord? Bhakti-amama vijanti yavyasasmi tatvata. One can only understand me, Krishna says, by pure devotional service. That by love, by bhakti. And if that's not there, there can be no understanding. It's like Jnana and Vijnana. The Vedas present us Jnana, knowledge. Since it represents us knowledge, and we hear we are not this body, we are a spirit soul, and the process of bhakti is explained, and so on. That a lot of knowledge. But that knowledge, if it remains theoretically, it has no much use. You leave your body and you lose everything. That Jnana must be turned into Vijnana, that realized knowledge. And the process to realize it is devotional service. By devotional service, Shrimvata Svakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Rityanta to Yabatrani Vidinot Srutsitam Krishna. It's what Sutta Goswami says in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, one who becomes attracted to Krishna. Krishna sees that. Then he from within the heart starts to remove all the ignorance, all the unwanted things, and become purified, and then we can understand. With a contaminated heart, we cannot understand that. Of course, men, women in this world are under the modes of nature. When you are under the modes of nature, then it's difficult to understand. And this contamination under the modes, it's more heavy for women in general. Why is that? Because they are naturally attracted to children, and they have more attachment to children and family members. And that's an arrangement by nature, this attraction. That's normal, that's natural in this world, for those who have bodies. That attraction is there, it's very deep. And therefore, because that attachment is very heavy, it's very difficult to give up. And unless you give up this attachment, there's no question of understanding this transcendental subject matters, at least not to realize them. That we have always to consider there are two kinds of IQ, material IQ and spiritual IQ. Most people, there was a survey at least in Belgium at the university, and in the UK also, that women generally have higher grades at the university than men. Interesting. So material IQ, they are quite elevated on the material platform. They have also great intelligence. But spiritual IQ, that's something different. To get spiritual IQ, you must have this detachment, and in that process to attain that is explained in the Bhagavatam, the third canto, by Lord Kapila Dev. Prashangram acharupasham atmana kavayogito saiva sadasuketo moksadvaram apavita. Attachment to the material things, this verse said, is the greatest cause for entanglement in this world. But that same attachment, if transferred to the sadhu, that is the cause of liberation. So we have what Kapila Dev says, the solution is to become attached to the sadhu, that to the pure devotee. Because when we are following the instructions of the pure devotee and associate with from the pure devotee by hearing from him or are in his proximity and are serving him, then this attachment to the Supreme Lord will come into our heart. And then this spiritual, that's the cause of spiritual intelligence, this pure devotional service. Pure devotional service means I serve Krishna with the pure motivation just to please him. That's and asking nothing in return. In the Bhagavatam, such pure devotional service must be ahaituki apatiyata, without material motivational cause, and uninterrupted, always very, very busy. No interruption. Because if you interrupt devotional service, then the mind takes over. You are under the modes of nature. So this spiritual IQ, the intelligence, spiritual intelligence, is not a scholarly endeavor. That we hear about Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, coming from an abdomen of the Supreme Lord, Karpotagasaya Vishnu, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Came from the abdomen, and then he got, after meditation with devotion, after he got from within the heart this transcendental knowledge. He got the Vedas, realization of these Vedas from within the heart. Therefore, the first verse of the Brahman of the Bhagavatam says Kishanmas Yatya Yatam Vyati Taratis Satis Abhihyasvara. That Tene Brahma Hridaya Ad Kavaye. The writ to the heart that Krishna gave in realization. So Brahma got this spiritual intelligence to the heart through realization. But we also, Krishna says, Desham Satyuknam Vachnam Pitapurvakam Dadami Buddhyogam Tam Yena Mam Puyantite. Krishna, when we serve him with a little love, serve the spiritual master nicely, he gives the knowledge from within the heart. Desham Evanakamptam Amma Kyana Chamtaman.
Sorry, Maharaj, we are not able to hear you. I think it got muted.
Yeah. So there was an interruption in the internet. I don't know.
Yes, Maharaj.
Where it came from, but we continue. So I was telling that, yes.
Sorry, Maharaj. You may want to record it, Maharaj.
It's still running, the recording.
Okay, Maharaj. Yeah, because we got a message saying it is stopped, but yeah, if it is running, that's good, Maharaj.
Yeah, I check here. It's still running. Yeah. That So yes.
Yeah, it's still running. I can see the sign.
Yeah. So I was telling that, so Brahma got his knowledge to the heart, but that was not a special arrangement for Brahma alone. We also get spiritual intelligence to the heart. And what does it mean, getting spiritual intelligence to the heart? It means that Krishna gives us realization of this knowledge. It's turning from Jnana to Vijnana. And that, and this process of bhakti, Yanyat Yasu Vairajyam, automatically, as a byproduct of devotional service, you get realized knowledge and attachment. And therefore, although women are generally more sensible to this, more attached to this modes, more influenced or illusioned by this modes because of their family attachment to children, that they easily also transcends these modes or get this realization by the process of devotional service. That and therefore they are not ordinary. So Prabhupada very makes this clear. These statements are not there for devotee women. It's not applicable. It's for ordinary women. But then if we speak about ordinary women, on the same level are these Dvija Bandhus is mentioned and the Sudras. In Kali Yuga, everyone is Sudra Sambhava. Everyone takes birth on the Sudra Kali Yuga. So we are, Sudra means, yes, you don't work for a boss. If you ever work for a boss, you are a Sudra. Anyway, that especially as Westerners are coming from a deeper background, lower than Sudras, that if you eat meat, fish, eggs, and drink alcohol, you are even not a Sudra. You are lower, you are untouchable. So we can understand where we come from. But it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam that Lord Kapila Dev makes that very clear at the end of his teachings. In the third canto, you have these famous verses that Srila Prabhupada quotes many times, that it is Aho Bhatasva Pachato Garyan Yachich Vartate Namatubhyam Te Pustapate Shuvusas Nugarya Pramana Chunamihinam Tiete. How glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name, even if born in the families of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. So, persons who chant your holy name must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices, achieved all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So the Buddha asked Srila Prabhupada, is that true? Did we do that in our previous life? All these austerities and these Vedic sacrifices? Prabhupada said, don't worry about that. I did them for you. So that's the mercy of a pure devotee. By the mercy of a pure devotee, we are elevated. We can be elevated to that platform. that platform of spiritual realization. So, but we have here in this verse, Kunti Devi, she presents herself, I'm a woman, how can I understand? But she's a Paramahamsa, effectively, that our acharyas have analyzed, and that, yeah, I think in Prema you have 7 stages in Prema: Sneha, Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava as a stage of Prema, and Mahabhav. But the Mahabhav is the most intense love, the intense love of Srimati Radharani, that Lord Chaitanya, that, but it is said by our acharyas that Queen Kunti was on the level of anurag, great attachment to the Supreme Lord. So she had prema, that she had nothing to do with this material world. She has become transcendental, but still she presents us very humble as an ordinary woman, also speaking for all other women. That and then, but we are all Sudras. We are all on that level. That we see also, because there is a difference between the subtle and the gross body of a man and a woman. That because the gross body is constructed on the subtle body according to your mentality at the time of passing away in previous life. That so that is the, yes. And we can see in the Bhagavatam, you have the story in the, I think in the 4th canto, 3rd canto, the story of Kashyap and Aditi. Aditi is approaching Kashyapa Muni at the wrong time for conceiving a child. But Aditi is so attached to get a child, and she doesn't care by way or another. She wanted him. She allured him in conceiving a child at the wrong moment. So that shows that the subtle body of a woman is different. You have that a man can act more cool-headed and split the intelligence from his emotion, somewhat, not complete, but somewhat. But in case of a woman, it's mostly together, and emotions cannot be separated from the intelligence. It's so strong that, but we see also, because Sudra Sambhava in Kala, or Sudra Sambhava in Kali, everyone is a Sudra. Man or woman, not much difference there. They have the same thing practically, the same problem. But when one becomes Krishna conscious, one is able to take a distance from these emotions which appear into the mind, because the mind becomes controlled. That, so if one is Krishna conscious, one transcends that. The Queen Kunti has transcended that, and we also must transcend it. That, so that's important, an important lesson for us. That. But this verse is about the glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he has special signs on his feet and his hands, especially the Pankaja, the lotus flower. The lotus flower is found in many scriptures. the description of the lotus flowers. That Krishna wears a garland of lotus flowers. Lord Brahma is born from the abdomen of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, which is like a lotus flower. That it's interesting. This Pankaja means also many meanings in Sanskrit. One of the meanings I heard is born from the mud. It's born from the mud, from the water, but then it's when you put a drop of water on a lotus leaf, then it doesn't impregnate. It's not affected. That so it's transcendental. The Lord is transcendental always. It's never under the modes. That so we see also these signs on his feet. One is the lotus flower. That and it's a symptom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a bodily symptom that there are these signs on his hands and his lotus feet. And the gopis in Vrindavan, they knew this, and they were always searching for the marks of the lotus feet of the Lord. That the imprints of his lotus feet. And if they would find an imprint of Krishna's lotus feet, nobody would step on it. They would always offer obeisances. They knew the signs, all the signs on Krishna's lotus feet. That, but an important point that Srila Prabhupada makes in this purport is, yes, we are like women, like Sudras, so we cannot see the Lord directly, because we have no transcendental vision. But out of his causeless mercy, the Lord appears to us as the Arsha Vigraha, as a deity form, and can be made in many materials. Yeah, you can have the deity form, or the form of Krishna in your mind is made of mind, or it can be made of stone or metal or jewels and so on. But it should be made according to the prescriptions in the scriptures, not by imagination. And Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, appears as the Arsha Vigraha to accept service for us, and so that we can see him with our eyes and serve him. That is Krishna coming down in the form of the Arsha Vigraha for our mercy. So that is important. Is Arsha Vigraha is not idol worship. It is prescribed in the scriptures especially for us in Kali Yuga. That because by deity worship we get an impression of the Lord in our mind and can express our devotion, can give our service. And Krishna receives this. That of course there are extraordinary deities, deity stories of deities who reciprocated with devotees. Of course, the great story of Madhavendra Puri, where Shilakshari Gopinath stole a pot of ghee for his devotee Madhavendra Puri. We know that story. That there's also the story where the deity became a witness Sakshi Gopal. There are beautiful stories in the scriptures, how the Lord reciprocates with us. And that is Krishna's mercy. That the deity form is also transcendental, but we are able to serve him. So these are important points made in the purport, that so we can only take advantage of serving the deity and chanting the Lord's names and hear from him. These are all forms in which the Lord appears, because we need to purify our heart from this material attachment. And what is the way to purify our heart from this material attachment? It's, then we can ask, that's going together with the question, what is the process? How do we become contaminated in our mind? How our material contamination increases in our mind and our heart. That's explained in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verses 62-63. Dayate visyapam samsangastes vachayate sangha sanyate kama koda. Kama koda. Yeah. So sangha is dayate. It starts with meditation. Dayate visyapumsa. So the pumsa, the human being or living entity, dayate meditates on the Visaya. Visaya are the objects of the senses. So many things we are interested in to enjoy. And we meditate on that for enjoyment. I want to have this, that, and then attraction comes. Sankha sayate kama, this lust comes. Then kama koda vijayate, because we become so attached to material things. We have great expectation of happiness deriving from it. And when it happens, it doesn't happen according to our expectations, and we become frustrated, unhappy. But it starts with dayate, that contamination. Therefore, spiritual life starts also with dayate, meditation, but on spiritual objects. And there are many spiritual objects which Krishna kindly gave us. And this is holy name. It's the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. And here in the purport is mentioned Archavihra, deity worship. That they are all transcendental. And these spiritual objects of meditation are the essence of our sadhana. We chant the holy name, we do Mangalarti before the deity, we hear the Bhagavatam. So that is spiritual life, meditating on spiritual objects constantly. So constantly chanting holy name, hearing about Krishna. So this is this shows the importance of having a steady morning program. It's an absorption in the spiritual objects. And if you absorb your mind in the spiritual objects, what will happen? That your mind will become purified, because it's mentioned in Sri Upanishad that Krishna is antiseptic and prophylactic. Means antiseptic means that when you have Krishna in your mind, your contamination will surely be removed from your heart. Just by thinking of Krishna, man mano, the contamination is removed, and then Bhavamat Bhakta, then you become his devotee, then you develop devotion after the purification. that that your heart will become purified from the anarthas, from the material attachments. And then your intelligence, by hearing about Krishna, by hearing the scriptures, by performing devotion service, will become purified and filled with transcendental knowledge, realized transcendental knowledge. That is the process of spiritualization of the subtle body. That process of spiritualization of the subtle body means that we destroy the material subtle body. We destroy the material thinking, feeling, and willing. And the thinking, feeling, and willing will again be done by the spirit soul directly, not by the material elements of the subtle body. And when one attains that point, that when the subtle body is fully spiritualized, then there is no material spiritual body then there is no material subtle body anymore. The subtle body has been spiritualized. Then you don't take birth again. That's a process. That's a process. Therefore, this process of deity worship is very important. That we know a few days ago, Gopal Krishna Maharaj left us. I was at that time when I got the news in Montreal, and we had discussions about Gopal Krishna Maharaj. Gopal Krishna Maharaj always had a very steady sadhana. He joined in Montreal in '68. He was worshipping but when I was for years, when I was in Mayapur, during the GBC meetings, he would be the pujari of the Panchatattva in the morning and do the puja. And after that, he would go to his room and then he would chant rounds, and at 6 o'clock, he would do his puja for Karni time. And wherever he was studying that puja for Karni time. As GBC secretary at that time, I had to visit him sometimes. And I visited him one time in Mayapur at 6 o'clock in his room. And he was doing this deity worship and such beautiful Karni time deities. And so many flowers, so many offerings with assistance of some of his disciples. It was like, when I came in the room, it's like coming into Vaikuntha. Well, more Golok. Because some years later, I had to visit him also as GBC secretary in Delhi, in the new built Parthasarata temple which he built. And I came into his quarters. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was doing again his puja for the same deities. Just beautiful, beautiful. He was so steady in it. We should also have this steadiness in our morning program. And that will bring us to the transcendental platform and give us spiritual power during the day to withstand the influence of the material energy. This is very important. He gave a great example. So yes, much more to say, but please let me know if you have any questions or comments. Any question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for remembering His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj and sharing about him. Thank you, Maharaj. And Also, thank you for covering this topic very eloquently as well as with the Shastra, because there are so many times when such verse comes regarding woman and Shudra, then there are a lot of questions or comments are put forward because people don't like having those words to hear. So thank you for explaining that from Srila Prabhupada's perspective. My question is more about the lotus, using the lotus for explaining each and everything related to the Lord. So recently that question was asked to me, that why lotus? So are there any references or any more anything more we can substantiate why lotus is used? Because every time lotus eyes or lotus mouth or lotus face, lotus feet is used while explaining about the Lord.
Yeah, this is in Bhagavad Gita. I try to get the verse, but yeah, I think it's in the 3rd chapter, but even if I don't find the verse, I can explain it. The verse says that a lotus leaf, that if some drop comes of it, then it doesn't impregnate. It rolls from the leaf and falls down. So that means that the Supreme Lord is not affected by the material nature, by the motive nature. It's a source of material nature. That and so this Padma, or this lotus flower, is it is the symbol of transcendence. That and that's why this lotus flower is so important. The Lord has lotus feet. He does not have feet like us, that they are transcendental. He has a lotus in his hand, that he has a lotus garland. So this lotus is representing the transcendental nature of the Lord, not influenced by the 3 modes of nature. Therefore, it shows that the Lord is different from us. We don't have lotus feet or lotus hand or that. No, that. But this is explained in Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter, because Krishna says, yes, I'm not influenced by the modes of nature, that there is no work in this world that affects me, Krishna says. That although there is no work in this world that affects me, still I'm doing my duty as a Kshatriya to show to others. And not only I'm doing it, also great devotees are on that transcendental platform, like Janak Maharaj. That's the example given in Bhagavad Gita in the 3rd chapter. Janak Maharaj. That yeah. So yes, this such kings as Janak attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Thus, for the sake of educating people in general, you should perform your work. So Krishna is asking us, I'm transcendental like the lotus, but I want also my devotees to act transcendental. That so that because this lotus means Krishna is different from us, is transcendental. That is really the meaning of this Padma, this lotus. That yeah, but there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita which explains it more deeply. But it's in the 3rd of the 5th chapter, but I don't remember the exact verse. Does that help? Okay. Good. Thank you very much. I've been happy to be with you. I look forward to see you next week. I'm now in Halifax. It's an hour later here. Next week I will try to be online. I'll be back in Montreal. And the week after Wednesday, I think in 2 weeks from now, it's Lord Nrsingadev's
Yes. Appearance. Yes.
birthday. Do you have a speaker for that day?
No, Maharaj. I think if you would like to,
Yeah. I have a special lecture on Nrsingadev with a lot of pictures, which I can share on the screen. It would be nice.
yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you very much. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Soon as Bhakti
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.